Welcome to Reddit Blue Pill Red Pill, where we go over Reddit stories and predict the outcome of the stories. Please listen and play along by typing in your choices into the comments. There are 5 seconds to answer, or you can pause the video. Today we have a story about a man who is in the middle of a strained relationship between his wife and daughter. All right, let's get on to the story.
Lurker here. So for the last few years, me, 36, and my wife, 34, have had a very strained relationship due to the way my daughter and wife interact. It started when my daughter was 13. She came to her mother and confided her feelings about our family friend's son. My wife decided that this was too cute to share and told everyone during a family barbecue, including the boy. This embarrassed my daughter, and I told my wife to stop as this made our daughter upset, but my wife justified it at the time because they were just kids. I've always known my wife has a hard time keeping secrets, but I thought she would have at least tried since this was a touchy subject, especially for a growing teenager with her first real crush. After this incident, I started noticing things like this more, like my wife openly telling everyone our daughter's business.
The OP is married and has a daughter. His wife is the type of person who cannot keep secrets, and she has had issues with their daughter because of this problem. The daughter confided to her mom about a crush she had for a boy, expecting to have a conversation with her mother about relationships and things like that. But the mother tells the boy's family and the boy himself, which hurts their daughter. Kids' teenage years can be very tough, and adding fuel to the fire seems like a horrible idea. Plus, I think the daughter will not trust her mother anymore and will either ask the father for advice in the future or keep things to herself. But maybe the daughter did not specify that she wanted to keep her thoughts a secret, or the mother thought that it was best to tell the boy because she was secretly trying to get her daughter together with the boy since she knew her daughter was too timid to express her feelings to the boy. What do you think? If you think the mother was just trying to help her daughter get together with her crush, type Q1 blue in the comments. If you think the mother should not have told the daughter's secret, even if she thought she could help, type Q1 red.
Admittedly, most of these incidents were unnoticed by me for years because they were usually conversations between my wife and her friends when I wasn't around, as she didn't like it when I interrupted girl time. However, I am noticing more now, like my wife telling everyone about my daughter's business, like texts, phone calls, and other secrets that she told her mom in the past when believing they wouldn't be told. As everything progressed, my daughter started getting closer to me more, and I became the default parent who deals with medical issues, school drama, and crushes, which has upset my wife because my daughter refuses to have girl talk with her anymore, and is usually cold and doesn't like spending time with her. The OP hadn't noticed that this was a recurring thing with his wife, but has had his eyes opened recently. The wife is clearly telling intimate stories about her daughter to her friends, and the OP thinks this is a breach of trust. Their daughter has begun to draw away from the mother and confide more with the OP, which I thought could happen. The wife is now upset because their daughter has stopped confiding in her, and things that would traditionally be shared between mother and daughter are now being shared between father and daughter. But didn't the mother bring all this on herself? Or is the daughter and husband overblowing things out of proportion? Who hasn't had their parents embarrass them as kids, or even adults with stories about things that happened when they were kids? I feel this is normal, so maybe the daughter is being unfair to the mother. What do you think? If you think the daughter is justified in no longer confiding in her mother, type Q2 blue in the comments. If you think what the mother is doing is normal mother talk, then type Q2 red.
My wife decided to try and punish our daughter after finding out she got her first boyfriend and wasn't told. Our daughter is 16 now, and I don't feel like it's necessary to punish her for these things when she has made a conscious decision to protect her privacy. I know she still loves her mom, but I understand not sharing things she doesn't want to get spread or blown out of proportion. I came home to my wife yelling at our daughter and demanding her phone, her laptop, etc., all over this situation, which it made me very angry because my daughter was in tears and she is still my little girl and doesn't deserve to be punished over something her own mother caused. I told my wife to leave her alone and that we would talk, but I also told her to give back the items, which my wife refused to and started screaming at me in front of our daughter. Something I don't like. I like to have calm conversations away from our daughter to prevent making her feel scared or uncomfortable.
The daughter is older now, but is still keeping things secret from her mother. The daughter has a boyfriend that she has kept from her mother, and the mother exploded on her, asking to see all her private conversations. I feel this is extreme, unless there is more to the story than what was written here. This can be a tricky subject, and parents can come to different conclusions when it comes to having the expectation to know everything about your child, to the point of demanding to view their private conversations, know their whereabouts at all times, and other similar things. But I also feel that if you have such expectations from your children, then you have to earn the trust from your kids. Plus, maybe only resort to such extremes if the situation warrants it. The OP stepped in and tried to calm the situation, but the wife exploded on him as well, which the OP does not like to show this type of parenting screaming in front of their child, which I agree with. But did the husband warrant being yelled at for trying to interfere in the mother disciplining their daughter? What do you think? If you think the OP was right to interfere with the disciplining his wife was giving, type Q3 blue in the comments. If you think it would have been best to not interfere in that moment, type Q3 red. Eventually, after multiple attempts to calm her down so we could discuss this properly, she grabbed my arm and started digging her nails in my skin, and I had enough by then. I started ranting about how she always told our daughter's business to people and how basically the whole family and friends around us knew everything about our daughter's personal life and medical history, and then I told her it was her fault our daughter doesn't trust her anymore, which made my wife start crying, and she locked herself in the bedroom while I started comforting our daughter and went out to get her some dinner. But now I'm home and I'm getting some serious silent treatment from my wife, and I'm wondering if I could have possibly said something different, but I'm tired of her blaming our daughter every time she doesn't get told something. The OP's wife was in such a fury that she didn't notice her digging her nails in his arms and causing damage. Or at least I hope she didn't notice and it wasn't on purpose. This caused the OP to burst open and go off on how his wife spills all of their daughter's intimate details to everyone, and how it was her own fault their daughter stopped confiding in her. His wife got upset and is now giving him the silent treatment. While I agree his wife went crazy for a moment, could the OP have tried a different method to diffuse the situation? He knows his wife is particularly sensitive to her daughter keeping this from her. And the wife hearing how it was her own fault her daughter hides things from her must have crushed her. But maybe it had to be said, and there's no sugarcoating it. What do you think? If you think the OP was wrong to explode on his wife, type Q4 blue in the comments. If you think the OP did the right thing sticking up for his daughter, type Q4 red. The OP added a final update, so let's hear it. Edit. I have read many comments talking about my wife, and I am seriously taking this all in. I really don't want my daughter to think this is okay for her future husband to treat her this way, so I am requesting my wife attends therapy by herself before she can join me and my daughter in family therapy, because I am not putting my daughter in a situation where her mother will probably use the therapy sessions to punish her, which people have mentioned. If she refuses, I will look into separation, because I have realized my daughter needs her dad to keep her safe, and she won't be safe if her mother is acting this way and normalizing this behavior. I'm scared for my future, honestly, but I am also hopeful that I can show my daughter she is loved and safe. I will be sending my daughter to stay with her aunt for the rest of the week while I have this conversation, because I am not taking any chances that she'll have to listen to an argument between me and my wife. The situation is at a breaking point. The OP is demanding his wife attend solo therapy and then family therapy, or he is divorcing her. It seems the OP read some comments that said he and his wife are showing their daughter that this type of behavior is normal, when in fact it is not normal, it's toxic. Perhaps that is what happened to his wife. She may have been exposed to the same toxicity from her own parents and saw this type of behavior as normal. But someone has to be strong enough to stop the vicious cycle, and it seems the OP is the one intends to do just that. But contemplating divorce may be a bit extreme now. While this behavior from his wife is bad, the OP did not say there are any other problems with his wife. Is her behavior warranting him to possibly dissolve the marriage? Could he just separate for a while but not divorce until his wife agrees to therapy? What do you think? If you think the OP is right to divorce his wife if she doesn't attend therapy, type Q5 red in the comments. If you feel divorce is too harsh and he should try a different method first, type Q5 blue. Now let's listen to a few comments.
Not the a-hole, but when your daughter gets her devices back, tell her to change all of her passwords to her social media. Her mom is too involved in her business and is the true definition of your parent being your biggest hater. She is going out of her way to embarrass her daughter. Don't be surprised the lengths mothers like this will go to in order to get the information they want. My mother was very demanding of every detail of my life, but she wasn't a blabbermouth. She was incredibly controlling and very critical of everything I did. My mother would go through my room, my rubbish. If I hid anything, she'd go through my room and go ballistic that I dared hide stuff from her. She'd call my therapist and demand to know everything. She even complained about my therapist maintaining confidentiality to their higher-ups. She'd call my friends or their parents demanding information, the school, any and every way she could think of to get information. I totally shut down. The older I got, the less I was home because I was so miserable there. And that led to some really dangerous situations, and self-harm and a couple of suicide attempts. I still struggle today because of it.
Not the a-hole. So, your wife physically assaulted you after screaming at you in front of your daughter, and you're afraid you're the a-hole for simply telling her the truth? I'm afraid you have bigger problems than just getting a dose of the silent treatment, and far bigger things to worry about than being the a-hole.
Police officer here. In my state, her attack on you in front of a child would be family violence, battery, and cruelty to children 3rd degree, or possibly 2nd degree. She would be arrested without a doubt.
Your wife sucks in so many ways. First, her blabbermouth. Second, her punishment makes no sense. I'm grounding you until you start giving me what I want is stupid and ineffectual. I'm glossing over the fact that it is too harsh and doesn't do anything to understand or solve the underlying problem, because I'm stuck on how dumb these types of punishments are. I'll hurt you until you love me is not a winning strategy. Third, she isn't communicating with her big girl words and is instead pouting and hoping you'll cave because she is in the finding out stage of her dumb need to gossip and she doesn't like it. Fourth, she physically assaulted her husband in front of their child. Physical assault should always be a one and done. Once your partner lays hands on you, that is it. Break up, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Go to jail. Thank you to everyone pointing this out. By the time I got to that part in the story, I was so done with this woman and her BS that I skimmed. OP, please take your daughter and leave. She committed domestic abuse.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end and participating. Please consider liking and subscribing to watch future videos. Goodbye.